Hello, everyone. Joshua Hayes at BigWaveTrading.com with another weekend market update. It was a very good week for the SPY. We saw a couple of gap downs and rallies to close near the highs during the past week, shortened week. And overall, I'm getting mixed messages right now. So whenever I get mixed messages, I basically assume that we're probably in a chop scenario. That being said, I still believe that we're in the middle of part of a bottoming process. I don't know how long it's going to take. I have mixed emotions regarding this because if we've bottomed and we start to rally, I'm going to start to get better end of day swing signals. I can go back long in the quarterly portfolios, but in the long-term portfolios, my game plan once I started to sell off these long-term portfolios in July of 2021, finalizing it in October of 2021, I started to buy back positions at SPY 400, SPY 380, all telegraphed well ahead of a time that I wanted to really load at SPY 350. I'm seeing enough evidence via relative strength, via stocks that have been in long downtrends that are now making higher lows and higher highs, via stocks that you're looking at right over here that are what I would consider new leaders. I'm still populating and adding names to the list, but I only started to do this list back here in June, right here, right off the lows, off this bounce. This is when I began to add stocks to a new leaders list because I started to notice with this leg down in the SPY, we were having a lot of stocks hit new highs. So when I look at the market and I look at the volume profile and the volume structure and the moving average structure, ignore all this for right now. Let's just say this is confirmation. So for instance, it cleans it up a little bit on a weekly. Let's say you're bullish on the SPY following COVID, but you don't know when to get long. But you know that whenever it breaks out above this high right here, you want to get long SPY. Well, whenever it breaks out above this high, you can come down here and look at your indicators and you have confirmation. That's all that is. So I need everybody, if this looks overwhelming, trust me, it's not. It's just a guideline. And if we use it as a guide, we're going green on one indicator, but the main lead line is below the zero level. Same with MACD and Chaikin money flow. We don't really have any turn anywhere. We just have a rounding off the lows. But the bottom line with this market is, if I look at this chart with this volume profile, I'm thinking, yeah, we're going to go see this 350 level, which is with an anchored VWAP to the 2016 lows, which is a 50 Fibonacci retracement from the 2020 COVID lows, and which also lines up with the 200 weekly SMA. That's the huge load. If I don't get that level to load, I'm not quite sure how I'm going to go about the long-term portfolios. I'll probably add names if we get any pullback whatsoever into SPY 370. I'll start doing a little bit of buying. If we hopefully get SPY 360, I'll do more SPY 350. And don't forget, on the downside, I game plans further for SPY 320, SPY 300, SPY 280 with a huge all-in load on the backside if SPY hit 250. But that's not going to happen. So the point is I'm trying to make is if I look at this chart standalone, I look at the moving averages, I look at the volume profile, I look at the structure, the weakness of the bounce, I say we go lower. Unfortunately, that's not the case everywhere. If we look at the semiconductors and we know that semiconductors help lead this market higher, they're confirming that thesis that we don't look like we have a quote, quote, bottom yet, that the market wants to still trend lower. But remember, one of the things I'm really looking for a market bottom, I'm looking for companies to come out with weak numbers. They lower guidance. The analysts that cover the firms lower guidance. And then an amazing act would be if they actually lower their buy recommendations to like neutral or overweight or whatever, lower some ratings along the way. MU had bad earnings. They lowered guidance. Analysts lowered guidance. Also, it's done nothing but rally. If this earnings season comes out and we keep seeing that, that's more sign of a market bottom. The problem I have is without a Fed pivot, without a VIX above 40. So I remember in COVID, look at where the VIX got up to. The 70s, the 80s, basically. It got into the 80s. By the time it got back below the 40s, you knew that the fear portion was peaked out. 30s is normally in, or 40 in uptrends is normally your bottom of the VIX. But we're downtrending and we can't even get that 40 number. So I'm really confused by that. Also, the equity put call ratio never went over 1. Now, the 5-day moving average went over 0.8, which is bottoming territory for me. But on a 1-day panic, we never got over 1. That VIX never got over 40. It's really tough to think that we've got some kind of panic bottom, oversold bottom without that capitulation and or a Fed pivot. And we know the Fed's going to hike rates 75 basis points in the upcoming FOMC meeting. We have CPI and PPI next week. I'm sure inflation's going to come down a little because commodities have come down, but they're still on an aggressive hiking path. So we're not seeing that Fed pivot that I also need if I don't have a capitulation bottom via the VIX and equity put call. I normally like to see a Fed pivot. Then I know, hey, we're bottom. Let's go. Let's get long stocks. So very, very, very interesting times right now. And then another problem also is the equity inflow, outflow. If anybody's familiar with the equity inflow charts, it took a space trip to Mars in 2021. None of that has come out. And in fact, equity inflows to U.S. domestic funds is higher than where it was whenever we started to sell off. These charts can be found on anywhere on the internet, I guess. So it's very, very, very odd to see zero panic in the public. So no equity call, put call panic, no VIX panic, no equity inflow, outflow panic, no Fed pivot. But there's some signs that say we're bottomed out. Sentiment is atrocious out there. In fact, I just saw a chart that asset manager and hedge fund positioning between all equity futures is at a net record short of negative 10% of all the firm's capital. They've never been this short ever. Asset managers and hedge funds. So it's very, very, very odd. So I'll just leave it at that. We have a very mixed market. I want, for my long-term portfolio, the SPY to come down to 360, 350. But I also don't want it to, because if we finally start rallying, I'll get my end-of-day swing signals, and we'll make a lot of money trading those. I have been relatively cold since April, but that lines up with this last leg of the entire market downtrend. No surprise whatsoever. Losses can very easily be taken care of because the number one rule of big wave trading is always cut your losses ASAP. And we're extremely small and extremely tight right now while we wait for that market to turn. Is there any hints besides me just thinking, oh, with this bounce, I'm not going to get my 360, 350? Yeah, I told you about all the positive divergences. One of the biggest indices for the strength recently is XBI. You did get a little bit of a lower low, but it was basically a double bottom. But then you got a higher high. So now you basically have the same lows, higher highs. Then you got higher lows, higher highs. Green, green, green coming out of a squeeze. We're looking really good. We're going to run through these stocks here. You'll see a lot of these are higher price biotech names. So biotechs are a leader. Definitely doesn't agree with the SMH and the SPY here, right? Okay. So I noticed that kind of stuff. If this was a really bad bear market, if we're going to go much lower, I just don't think you'd be seeing this relative strength in the XBI. I also don't think you'd be seeing relative strength in Chinese stocks. And in case, I don't know, I happened to listen to a podcast from a very, very experienced trader, very, very intelligent trader, very successful trader yesterday. And he's not sure why the Chinese stocks are rallying. I 1000% know exactly why the Chinese stocks are rallying. It's the only thing that matters. QE. China is the only country implementing QE. They started it, I believe, in April. Notice how this Chinese internet ETF hasn't gone lower, that's not a coincidence. PDD, BABA, JD, notice how they're not going lower? That's not a coincidence. So we have leaders here in China. We have leaders here in the biotechs. And we also have leaders here in solar. When the market was hitting new lows here, did solar hit new lows? It sure didn't. When the market then hit another new low, did solars hit another new low? They sure didn't. So these are your new leaders. If the market has bottomed, does not see 360, 350, even if it does see 360, 350, your leaders are already emerging. Solar stocks, Chinese stocks thanks to QE, and biotechs, which if you're old like me, used to be the sign that game on, speculation is here. So it's very, very strange. Very, very strange. And what's funny is that going back to that equity inflow outflow, if anybody's familiar with the Goldman Sachs sentiment indicator chart, all of the sentiment indicators, long, short, and intermediate term, are thrown completely to the left, but two indicators, a 12-month and a 3-month inflow outflow of equities, they're all the way to the hard right edge. I've never seen this before, and I have no idea what to think about it. So we'll do it. We'll play it day by day. I think we got a good game plan. I think if we pull back, that's great. We'll get our long-term portfolios really heavily invested, and basically we'll just have to worry about putting those last pieces of the puzzle together to get fully invested before or during whenever the Fed pivots. If we have bottomed and we rally, we've got our new leaders. I'll get my signals. The end-of-day swings will start working again. And, of course, my time frame, because of all the overnight risk and how thin liquidity is out there, is still day trading. So day trading is still the number one methodology on my end. Now, before I go over the new leaders, I also want to show you that a little bit bad luck, too, with the long-term portfolios. Snow had an alert under 100 on Snow for a large ad, even without the SPY getting 350, 360. Just missed that. That's trading, guys. Roblox had an alert under 20, irregardless of the SPY hitting 350, 360. Wanted to load up in Roblox. Bye-bye. Looks like now. What are you going to do? That's trading. And ENPH. Told myself, if I can get ENPH at 100, loading the boat with or without SPY, possibly bye-bye. So, on that note, ENPH still looks good. My trade idea for Monday on ENPH is if it can gap lower, hold 210, go red to green over 216. I'm looking for a move to 220, potentially much higher for a swing trade up into the high 270s. And a methodology I got to get my hand wrapped around is this. On the weekly time frame of ENPH, we're just now turning, so things weren't lined up there. So I'm not going to beat myself up too much over this. But I want to show you a methodology that I need to perfect. And that's whenever you do identify a leader, it's clearly in an uptrend, it starts to squeeze. My CMF is the most important indicator. It's green here, and it's still green. Do you see how we're in a squeeze? This blue line is the 21 EMA. You can get long risking to this low off the 21 EMA whenever you recapture it in a squeeze. CMF green. I would love to see all three green and have the weeklies green, but that's just for confirmation. You get long ENPH off the 21. That's your cut loss level. Low 178.50. Low 179.20. You don't get stopped out here. And now it's working higher. I have to work on this because breakouts, they're few and far between. Not getting a whole lot of signals. But with the leading stocks, when you're in a squeeze and you're on top of the 21 EMA and you got the proper EMA stacks and you got clear support levels below, they are actionable. And then you just cut your loss if it closes below here, if you have a higher risk tolerance here. But no matter what, from your entry price to your stop price, you have to calculate how much you're willing to risk per trade. 1R right now is the most I'm willing to risk. So what I would do is I would take this buy stop minus this sell stop that I would have set up and ready to go, get that total, divide into 1% of my account capital, and that would be my share size. So that's it. That's my trade idea for Monday for everyone, ENPH. It's not on my books yet. I just have alerts set. It's basically going to be a day trade, hopefully turn into a swing trade. But I want to let you guys know, once again, regarding the market, when the SPY was right here, I started to add these stocks to this new leaders list. I have not changed or removed any name since adding it, basically starting on this day here. This is when I started to add these names to this new leader list. They are all still either holding up or moving higher. So feel free to pause your video lesson, take down all of these stocks, and I'm going to continue to add to these names for members of Big Wave Trading. And then maybe in the future, I'll bring them up again. But as you can see, there's a lot of biotechs in here, but they're not all biotechs. There's a lot of other companies and a lot of other industry groups. But that being said, I want to get out. So we got a year's of data here. Look at where they're at relative to their 52-week highs. I want to remind everybody just one more time, you don't see this in secular bear markets, in prolonged bear markets. You do have leaders that show relative strength versus the market, but you don't have this many names near 52-week or all-time highs and this many different industry groups. Would it be great if some of these were semiconductors or some of these were software stocks? Sure, but there are some in there. But those are the old leaders. These are the new leaders. And there's ENPH, and there's LI Auto. So those are the new leaders. It's a mixed bag, but there's a lot of encouraging price developments in individual stocks out there that make me think the bottom is in, and or we are in the middle of a bottoming process. The market could go a little bit lower, and I want it to, remember, for the long-term portfolios. But if it doesn't, we've ID'd the new leaders. I told you what to look for when they're in consolidations, trying to find one that's in a consolidation. They're all moving higher. This one's even moving higher. That one's moving higher. Yeah, that one. I pre-jumped this one in that list. Sorry, guys. Okay, IRTC is in the consolidation. When you get a squeeze, if the CMF is green and it starts consolidating and you got a clear support level on that 21 EMA, it's actionable. MCK, not so much. You get the point. You understand the exercise. Once again, everybody, I'm going to ask if you like the video lesson, please give me a thumbs up. I would really appreciate some comments, some questions, some thoughts, anything. Tell me what you had for lunch. Tell me what you had for dinner. Tell me how you're feeling. Just let me know. You know what I'd appreciate even more? Like, it would be amazing if you could share this video with your network. Help me grow the channel. I'd really appreciate that. And or if you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe. Ring that bell. I'd also greatly appreciate it. If you really liked what you heard, and if you'd like to join me in the family at Big Wave Trading, there's links in the description below. If you don't want to join the family, we also offer a 2-week free trial. Social media links are below. I did not take any day trades in the Thinkorswim long only, small cap only, day trade only, break even stop educational account this past week. So that remains at all-time highs. But right now, the market's a little weird. So I'm trading in my Webull accounts, not trading in my Interactive Brokers, Lightspeed, or Toss accounts until we get a little bit more resolve of this chop, or I start to see more follow through in small caps, and or we just don't see one huge front side move without any pullbacks at 38.2 until I can start getting my conservative entries, or I can actually start seeing follow through from proper setups that are either big percentage gains following the proper setup, and or you rally, you consolidate, rally, consolidate, rally. I'm going to continue to keep it small on all time frames.